Ladies and gentlemen, the time is finally upon us. The Nico Robin fights and dialogue and overall screen time we've been waiting for, it's finally here. We finally get that in One Piece chapter 1005, and there's a lot more to break down with all the Sanji stuff and everything else. So let's just get into it, starting with the cover page request, which this week is Katakuri. And listen, I love Katakuri, it's cool to see you, but we gotta talk about Robin. So this chapter picks up right where we left off last chapter with Black Maria finding out about the Scabbards. And of course, she wants to go to the Scabbards and take care of them, so she's in a bit of a rush. Also, we do find out that the girl with the eye mask on last chapter that I personally thought was Robin is not actually Robin. Turns out she's just a random gifter, she's part crocodile, which is actually kinda ironic because Robin used to work for Crocodile. But yeah, that girl is not Robin undercover. I guess the ellipsis and Sanji thinking to himself was just a way to add to the scene. So yeah, Black Maria is in a rush to get Robin. She's got all these traps set up and she wants Sanji to talk. So what does she do? She busts out some brass knuckles like she's the Italian mafia. And with that on her fist, she just starts going to town on Sanji, and it's not the good kind. Sanji is just getting absolutely destroyed to the point where even some of Black Maria's subordinates kind of feel bad for him. And this is the good part about Sanji's character, right? Because of how he treats women and his very strong morals of not hitting them, he's able to win over some female characters like Viola and Pudding, and now some of Black Maria's subordinates. So it's good to see some characters respecting Sanji's strong morals, but at the same time, this was actually used to set up a joke. Because eventually Sanji finally says, stop, okay, enough, you gotta give me a chance to talk. And while everybody else is expecting Sanji not to snitch, not to be a 6ix9ine, that's exactly what he does. He screams out, Robin-chan, please come save me, and you get the shocked reactions of people with their eyes popping out of the sockets. Now, of course, this moment was not only a joke, it spoke a lot about Sanji's character and how he's grown. It also set up a lot with Robin's character, but we'll get into that soon. Because first, I actually want to talk about the power of these eye masks. The power of these eye masks were really interesting to me because I wanted to know how it worked. Originally, I thought you communicated through those things with other people wearing the eye masks, but because of what Black Maria said last chapter about Sanji projecting his voice all over Onigashima, I thought that was not how the eye masks work. But it turns out both of these are true. They communicate through these eye masks, and you could project voices out of these eye masks. Why does the word mask sound so weird to me? It sounds like I'm trying to be a snake. But yeah, through the girl with the eye mask on, Sanji projects his voice and calls out to help from Nico Robin. And then Oda uses this opportunity to give us a glimpse of everything that is happening on Onigashima. Sanji is giving his location on the 3rd floor and saying that he needs help, that he's hopeless, and he needs to be saved or he will be killed. Meanwhile, everybody else is hearing this. You see Appu versus Drake, which is still going on. First off, shout out to Appu for having some insane durability, but this was another matchup I thought was gonna go down. I didn't think Appu was done, and I do think at this point we probably have to give up the idea of Appu versus Brook. But that's not the only matchup we get. We also see Marco versus King, Jinbei versus Who's Who, Sasaki versus Frankie, Nami and Usopp are also doing their thing, and Chopper is making some medicine. Now, because of how many glimpses of different people we saw, I think it's important to know who was not included. Besides the people that we see later in the chapter and the rooftop people, the only people that were missing were Queen, Hawkins, and Carrot versus Perospero. Now, first off, with Queen not being showcased, I think that pretty much confirms Marco versus King, which we do see in this chapter. I think this fight will be a main fight for them. At this point, I don't think Sanji's swooping in and fighting King, and Zoro's not coming down from the rooftop to fight King. It's gonna be Marco versus King. As for where Queen is, he could definitely be on his own mission. I'm still holding on hope that he fights Sanji, but another possibility is that he could be going after Chopper, who's trying to counter his play. Like, Chopper is the one person I don't think is gonna get a ton of fighting action, but that doesn't mean he's just gonna be sidelined. I'm expecting the Straw Hats to get a lot of shine in this arc, and Chopper having to deal with Queen for a bit could be it for him. Hawkins, on the other hand, is such a wild card. Like, I've always talked about, his character is such a mystery. It's somebody we really need to know more about his backstory and true motivations. Like, obviously he's a character Oda uses to tease what's gonna happen in the future, but think about like how he operates and how he goes about his life. He's a guy that really doesn't take any risk. He just follows the tarot cards. So why did he become a pirate in the first place? I definitely do think he's gonna play a critical role later and have a big moment. Some people think he might fight Brook, which would give Brook a pretty cool 1v1, but I don't think that fight would be that interesting, to be honest. And then with the final group, we have Carrot and Wanda versus Perospero. It's been a long time since we've seen that fight. Considering the Sulong time limit of 3 minutes, that might be already over. So So I feel like at this point when we go back to that fight, they're at least gonna be out of Sulong. So it's either gonna be a case of Perospero winning that fight and then going off and doing his own mission, or we get some very important development for Carrot and her overcoming Sulong and defeating Perospero without it. But yeah, besides that, we do get a glimpse of pretty much everybody else in this chapter. I think next chapter will definitely get a little more, but I'm definitely itching to go back to the rooftop because that was peak stuff. But the stuff we get from this chapter is pretty dope as well, and let's start by breaking down the Sanji moment that actually not everybody loved. You see, with this Sanji moment here, there's a lot of layers to it and what Oda is trying to use it to do. First off, as I mentioned earlier, it was used as an opportunity for a joke. Oda used the moment to create this shocked expression out of Black Maria's subordinates. But beyond that, a lot of what's happening to Sanji is not about him. It's a setup for Robin to get the dope moments that she gets in this chapter. So when looking at this situation that Sanji is in, you can't just look at it from his perspective. Sanji is being used as a pawn here to set up some epic moments for Robin. Now, of course, that's not the only thing that's happening because it's still Sanji's character at the end of the day. Him calling out for Robin's help here is definitely reinforcing some growth for him as a character. You see, Sanji's role within the Straw Hats is the protector. He's the one that's always protecting the females, the weak trio, and overall, that's just what he's instinctively driven to do. It could be his crewmates or a random female, but either way, he's always going to help. But as we saw in the last arc in Whole Cake Island, he took that one step too far. He tried to carry all the burden by himself to the point where it ended up in a worse situation for his crewmates. And in Whole Cake Island was a big moment for him because that's where he realized he needs to be able to count on his crewmates and trust them to protect him. So him being in this desperate situation and asking for Robin's help, that's a reinforcement of his growth from Whole Cake Island. He's trusting a crew member, not only that, a female crew member that he's often protecting. Instead, this time he's trusting her to come help him. He realizes he's weak against women and he absolutely can't do anything. Which, by the way, that's never gonna change. That's part of Sanji's character, and it's a good part about his character. Oda even reinforces it to another level in this chapter by saying Sanji can't even use armament haki because it's so ingrained into him that he can't fight females. Haki, of course, is an extension of your willpower, so he doesn't even have the will to protect himself. Now, I will say that's a little bit of a stretch because at the very least you should be able to defend yourself, but Oda is just hammering it home. So yeah, I do think Sanji's moment here is an area of growth for him, and it makes sense with his character as well, especially when you look at what happened last chapter. When Black Maria talked about getting Robin, Sanji didn't say, hey, stay away from Robin. He said, don't underestimate Nico Robin. So I think the transition from last chapter to this chapter absolutely makes sense. Now, at the same time, I will say the execution of it wasn't perfect in my opinion. Like I said, I have no issues with Sanji realizing his weakness and asking for help. I just feel like he didn't have to directly ask for Robin. Like, in a way, he gave the enemy what they wanted and kind of snitched out Robin. Now, as we see later, that's not really an issue, but Robin is somebody that a lot of people are after. The CP0, Big Mom, it's not only Black Maria that's after Robin. So I feel like realistically, Sanji could have just asked for help, like in a general sense, like, hey, everyone, I'm on the 3rd floor, I'm in trouble, please come save me. By doing that, he wouldn't have put Robin in danger specifically, but I know I'm picking at straws here. I do feel like because of this moment here, Robin won't end up getting captured in the future, because if she does, it will kind of downplay this moment, plus a previous moment where she said, I have strong crewmates that I can depend on. But yeah, that's really the main issue I had with this scene. Sanji's desperation kind of feels a little exaggerated as well. Maybe that's just me not wanting to see Sanji in a desperate situation because he is in a tough spot. Black Maria is very strong and he can't fight back at all. So yeah, that's the Sanji element of it, but like I said earlier, this is not really a Sanji moment. This is a big setup for Robin. First off, Sanji calling out for Robin's help is a parallel to Enies Lobby. That was when Robin required the help of all the Straw Hats to come save her, and in that arc, all the Straw Hats got their shine. They all got 1v1s and Robin was the one being rescued, so she didn't get any shine. Well, now the situation's kind of flipped. Sanji's the one that needs to be saved by Robin. So now Robin has a chance to prove that she's strong and show that she's a reliable crewmate. Sanji confidently relying on her not only speaks to his character, but also is a great confidence boost for Robin. And when you think about the relationship between these two and how Sanji went after Robin even when he knew nothing about her situation or whether or not she was actually a good person, this moment does become a lot better with all those callbacks. On top of that, the Sanji moment here sets up for this amazing Robin entrance. In order to save Sanji, Robin just comes in and hits Black Maria with a just slaps the hell out of Black Maria and knocks her back, and then we get into some of the best Robin dialogue we've had for a while. She's talking about how in the past I've been part of these bad organizations, so seeing one of my friends get hurt brings out the inner devil within me. And like, this is what we've been missing with Robin's character. It's why we fell in love with her character in the first place. The badass elements of Robin, the Miss All Sunday element of Robin. We haven't gotten that in a very long time, so seeing this dialogue here is absolutely amazing. I really hope the Viz doesn't completely butcher it. So yeah, Robin smacks up Black Maria. Brooke then also comes in, frees Sanji, and it looks like we're gonna get Brooke and Robin versus Black Maria, which is another callback to Thriller Bark, where they both defeated this giant spider. And finally, Sanji is freed up and he's able to go do his own thing. Right now, he's talking about going to save Kinemon, which once again is now that protector role coming back for him and wanting to save others. Like, from this point on, there should be some epic Sanji moments coming, because now that he's done with this moment and being used as a setup for Robin, he's gonna get his own shine as well. So he's about to dip, Black Maria tries to stop him, and then Robin delivers another bar, says, "Are those your last words?" When I read that, bro, oh, it's just like the best chapter for Robin fans. And then right after that, she follows it up with this incredibly wholesome message. She just winks at Sanji and says, "Thank you for believing in me, that really made my day." But you know what? Same, because all this Robin action in this chapter has absolutely made my day. So yeah, Sanji hears that, he gets a hard eyes, crashes into the wall because of the ice. And then after that, we actually jump to Yamato and Momo, where we get even more important information. First off, because Sanji projected his voice, everybody else kind of recognizes that those eye masks are used to communicate. Usopp saw one and he recognized it, maybe he shot that down. Yamato destroyed one as well. So this might not be a major impact, but it's gonna whittle down the communication for sure. Yamato also explains that these communication devices are called Marys, and that these cats and mice are actually cyborgs that have the eye mask, and everything that they see are seen by their human counterparts. So this makes a lot of sense. It looks like there's a human counterpart with an eye mask on, pretty much next to like every Toby Roppo member, every Calamity. So the guy with the eye mask that was talking to Who's Who before, he's probably not part of his crew. But the one question we still have to ask is, why is that eye symbol on Who's Who's chest? For those of you that missed it, I made a theory on Who's Who being part of the Three Eye Tribe and working for the world government. I still think that theory is very possible, and he might be the one that made all these eye masks. But yeah, in the meantime, some people discovered Yamato and Momo. They're about to come in. Shinobu says, "Hey, get Momonosuke out of their sight," and Yamato straight up just flashes Momonosuke and says, "Get in my shirt." Oda kind of went wild with that panel, bro. He almost showed it all. And then goddamn Momonosuke is just having a time of his life getting to cop another feel. Also, Yamato being such an innocent person, I really like her personality. But after that, we jump back to the third floor and we see Jack is back in action. Apparently, he just grabbed that tusk and just taped it back on, which I don't know how sturdy that is. But he is also looking for the scabbards, and he drops a very interesting line saying that the Toby Roppo are no match for the scabbards. Now, at first I was like, whoa, wait a minute, hold on, is that saying something about people like Raizo and Kinemon? But pretty much right after, you do see Jack specifically focusing on Raizo, Inu, and Neko. So clearly he's in this for himself and doesn't want anybody else involved. Now, because of Jack's location and his mission, a lot of people think that he might end up fighting Sanji. Both of them are on the third floor and both of them are heading towards Kinemon. Now, personally, I do still think the Queen versus Sanji fight is a lot more interesting and has more connections. Queen, of course, with the Judge connection, being kind of a scientist himself. I'm guessing those cyborgs Yamato talked about were probably made by Queen. And so far, Queen is nowhere to be seen, so he could definitely somehow meet up with Sanji. At the same time, I do think it's possible we see a little bit of a clash between Sanji and Jack. Some people were saying Sanji's gonna blue no Jack. I personally wouldn't be completely against it because I love Sanji, and him getting some shine at the expense of Jack, I don't really care about Jack that much. But yeah, I don't really see that happening. At most, they might clash a bit before they just kind of move on. Ultimately, I still do think it's gonna be Queen versus Sanji and Jack versus Yamato and Momo, because I think they're gonna be much more interesting. But finally, we finish off this incredible chapter with Black Maria revealing her final form. She's just chilling with everything hanging out, which honestly is a very good counter for Brooke. But yeah, Black Maria looking very devious here, and I'm very interested on her character backstory now as well. She's holding this weapon called the Wanyudo, which is apparently this like tormented face that's stuck on an ox cart wheel. I read up a little bit about it, but it really wasn't clear what it actually could do. Sounded like to me it's just this devilish weapon that could do devilish things. But yeah, I'm definitely interested to see what that could do and where Black Maria got that. The fact that her spider legs also has a face on it, and like her inspiration of a Majoro Gumo. Now I'm really curious, like, what exactly is her race? She also has this tattoo on her back that kind of symbolizes the downfall of a man when he's facing a woman, which not really gonna matter for Robin. Another important thing to note here is that Black Maria also points out other samurai that she's captured. Now this is actually important because the first time Sanji got captured, they mentioned capturing another hero of justice. So a lot of people, myself included, speculated that they had captured somebody else as well, and that could have been another mysterious character in Onigashima, but it turns out it looks like they were just talking about the samurai. So at the very least, that's one mysterious character we could cross out. But yeah, Black Maria is in her final form, Brooke is very excited, and Robin ends the chapter with another bar. Black Maria says to Robin, "You now belong to Kaido," and Robin says, "No thank you, I would rather die." Honestly guys, overall this chapter might have just been a damn good, but because of how long we've been waiting for these Robin moments and how much it was delivered in this chapter, this is an absolute banger of a chapter. Now as far as next chapter, I don't think we're going back to the rooftop yet. It feels like Act 3 is gonna go on for a bit longer. Maybe we'll get an update on Carrot, maybe we'll see a little more of Jinbei versus Who's Who, and maybe at the end of the chapter we go back to the rooftop. But what did you guys think of One Piece chapter 1005? Do you have any predictions for the next chapter? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please hit that like button. To keep up with this channel, you gotta hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to get notified. Thank you to all my King Pirates Elite members on YouTube and Patreon for supporting the channel. Follow me on Twitter and Twitch at I'mDZach, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.